Hello and welcome to Views on News. I'm Jawad Tehami. The two arch rivals of the cricketing world, Pakistan and India, would be locking horns on 14th of October as the Pakistan government has approved the Pakistan cricket team's travel to India for the participation in the mega event, the World Cup 2023. Pakistan's Foreign Office in a statement said, let me quote, that Pakistan has consistently maintained that sports should not be mixed with politics. Pakistan believes that the state of bilateral relations with India should not stand in the way of fulfilling its international sports-related obligations, unquote. The Foreign Office also has expressed deep concerns regarding the security situation in India and has also said that we are conveying our deep security concerns to International Cricket Council as well as to the Indian authorities. Earlier, we know that the Prime Minister, on the request of the governing body of Pakistan Cricket Board, had formed a high-powered committee headed by Foreign Minister Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari to deliberate upon the matter and propose the recommendations which are recommended to send Pakistani cricket team for the participation in this mega event, which was later on approved by the Prime Minister. On the other hand, we know that India had refused to send its team to Pakistan to participate in the Asia Cup. The Foreign Office regarding this said that Pakistan's decision shows its constructive and responsible approach vis-a-vis India's intransigent attitude, unquote. Let me quickly bring in our panelists. We are honored to have been joined in the studio by Mr. Rizwan Haider, he's sports analyst. Mr. Rizwan, thank you very much for taking time out for Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. And on Skype at the same time, we are being joined by Mr. Parvez Jamil, Mir, senior journalist. Mr. Mir, thank you very much for your time also for being with us on Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. Let me begin the discussion with you, Mr. Rizwan. How do you look at this particular approval of the Pakistani government to send its cricket team to participate in the mega event?
I think there was never any doubt. Pakistan has always been progressive. Pakistan has always shown sportsman spirit. India's lack of sportsman spirit is harming the game. Pakistan has always been positive. There were a lot of rumors going on that since India is not coming for the Asia Cup, we should not go to India. But I mean, what's there to lose? For me, playing the sport is more important than political differences. Political differences aside, sportsman spirit is the one thing that men's fences brings people together. Even arch enemies can become friends if you keep playing together. Your competitive spirit comes out. And Pakistan has always, I mean, if you look at the history since 1987 and 2011, Pakistani delegates have gone on to India, played cricket. And our political leaders have gone there to make sure that we're not worried about playing India. It's India which is scared. India has shown a lot of lack of ability to go and become. If India wants to become the best team in the world, they have to go and beat everyone. They have to play everyone like Australia does, like West Indies did in the 70s. India shying away from Pakistan is harming the game, and Pakistan has done a very positive thing by going to India.
So that's where exactly the Foreign Office says that the sports and politics shouldn't be mixed. Let me bring in Mr. Mir also into the discussion. Mr. Mir, what's your understanding regarding the wisdom behind this particular move by Pakistani authorities?
Pakistan doesn't go to see the World Cup, we lose $77 billion. That's it. That's the crux of the problem. Now, the thing is, India, they don't want to come and play in Pakistan. I wouldn't want to go and play in India. Why should I go and play in India? Because, I mean, Indians can't just tell us what to do. I mean, all right, good faith and good sportsmanship and all that, that's great. But, I think the Pakistan Cricket Board should have taken a much more stronger stance, okay? You want us to come and play in India, then you come and play the Champions Trophy next year. That is how we do it. I mean, they refused to come to Pakistan to play in the Asia Cup. So why do we need to go and play in India? Like I said, $77 million. And of course, we get cut off from that. So we need that money. But at the end of the day, I think there are lots of other instances where India has to come out and be fair. India is not being fair at all. I mean, they expect us to come at their will to go and play in India. Why don't you come and play with us? Why don't you come to Pakistan? What's your problem? What stops you? We give you the best security. And here, okay, again, it's a unilateral decision. The decision really should have come from the Pakistan Cricket Board. Foreign Office has nothing to do with the Pakistan Cricket Board. TK, it's fine, it's diplomatic, it's very nice, it's all good. But this is an old story, even before 87. The last time India toured was 79. I mean, the question is, how long are we going to, come down and, bow down? They've tried to destroy our, PSL because of their IPL. Their players don't come and play in Pakistan, and they expect us to go and play in India. I mean, what kind of hypocrisy is this? Leave sports out of politics. I totally agree on that. But at the same time, I think we should be talking eye to eye on that. We want to go, we will play in India, but you come to Pakistan as well. What is the difference? You tell me, what is the difference? And this is a very sore point between both of us. And it is not that the Indian cricket players don't want to play. I can assure you, every Indian cricketer wants to play in Pakistan, and perhaps even to an extent, the Pakistan, the Indian Cricket Board as well. I mean, the last meeting in South Africa with Zaka Ashraf, the chairman, it was quite a positive sort of a meeting. And I do remember that, news was put out that the Secretary General would come along, and then they later on refused on that. Now, why did they do that? Why did they agree with Zaka Ashraf there, having a handshake in front of the hotel, and then again later on, sort of contradicting that thing? I think India should come clean. They're not clean. And my bone of contention always remain, if you don't want to come to Pakistan, I will not go to India. That is my concern. I've played with all the Indian players in the UK and in Australia myself. We don't have a problem, but it's the government. I mean, our government has taken, if you you look on one side, a positive step. Very good. But that positive step is just not enough for the Indians. And that is where I think our chairman should go and talk to the people and say, look, you've got to come to Pakistan.
Mr. Mir, perhaps there is a very strong message by this particular move by the Pakistani authorities of deciding to let its team travel to India, despite India already refusing to send its team to Pakistan to participate in the Asia Cup. So that sends out a very strong message, and India must learn from this particular thing. Don't you think, shouldn't that be the case?
They will not learn. Jawad, I tell you, they will not learn. I've been dealing with them for times immemorial. I know the Indians inside out. I played all my life cricket with these people. But the players is not the issue. It is the Indian Cricket Board. It is the BJP. That is the issue. What is the problem? Our government doesn't have an issue. Okay, they've opened the doors. I think nice. But again, the government, I think, should have stayed in the background, because government should not be interfering as far as cricket is concerned. It is an independent body. Let the chairman decide, along with this management committee, let them work on the logistics. Government, as much as good faith is concerned, great. Diplomacy, excellent. But the Pakistan Cricket Board should take the initiative into talking to the counterparts, as what I've been trying to say. We want to establish cricketing relations. We always have wanted to, but it is them who basically don't want to. I don't know why. I just don't understand why. If that is the case, then they should stop players from playing in the leagues in England. They should stop the players from playing against Pakistanis in Australia, in New Zealand, and in other countries. Or even with us in the UAE. You can play with us in the UAE. What is your problem playing in Pakistan? That is my bone of contention.
Right, Mr. Rizwan, what should India be ideally learning from this example that has been set by Pakistani authorities?
Well, I agree with PJ Saab. India is not going to learn. But end of the day, the important thing is that the Asian Champions Asia Cup is not an ICC event. ICC events come in. India has been playing Pakistan in the ICC events since 2011, 2015, 2019 in the T20 World Cups, in the Champions Trophy. There was one of those things that Pakistan hasn't beaten India in an ICC event. We've done that in the Champions Trophy. We've done that in the T20 World Cup. So for me, the best way forward, the best foot forward would be going to India. And since we've got nothing to lose, the best we can do is, we can lose to India, we can lose the World Cup. Well, 11 teams playing, 12 teams playing, one is bound to win, the rest are going to lose. But with Pakistan going, if we beat India, that is a slap on the Indians, since they haven't been playing in regular bilateral events. Similarly, if we go on and win the World Cup, that is another slap on the face of the Indians, showing how much sportsman spirit that we have, which they don't. And for me, if India is scared, then that's their problem, not ours. We're not. I agree, we shouldn't, but logistically and financially, India has so much muscle and so much pull in the ICC. But I'm sure the best foot forward would be when the Champions Trophy comes in 2 years' time, because that is an ICC event. If India refuses to participate in that, that is where we can put our foot down and get India blamed or banned or something like that, which is not going to happen. But at least you can move forward with that.
So ideally, how does the ICC, the International Cricket Council, deal with such type of scenario if in 2025 India refuses to do so?
Unfortunately, India's got a lot of pull right now. They've got major seats pulled. They get the ICC major share. They got 40% share. Even Australia and England are getting 38%. I just want to make one correction. Indian players are not allowed to play any leagues other than county championship. They're not playing in the Pakistanis in Australia or New Zealand or wherever. But that is also a slap on the face of the English cricket and the Australian. Why their players have to go and play in IPL, but no Indian players are not going there. So the world has to move together. They all need to combine together against India and make some sort of a statement.
So does this particular example by Pakistan, this has already been said, does it send any message to the other cricket playing nations such as Australia and England?
Well, I think it should, because if you remember, there was a lot of say that if India doesn't come to Pakistan, then Sri Lanka would pull out of the Asia Cup. Similarly, Afghanistan, Bangladesh were going to pull out of the Asian. We were basically threatened to have the Asia Cup down in Sri Lanka. But I've always felt, Jawad, that the best foot forward is going and beating them. Let's not be scared.
Right. Mr. Mir, what's your understanding? Is there any message that should be learned by the other major cricket playing nations such as Australia and England also?
Well, you see, India right now commands or is standing in a very commanding position financially. All the players, they've given the green to go and play in the IPL. The Professional Cricket Association, if you remember going back in time, they also, issued a little notice in their own context that Pakistan is not a safe place to go and play cricket in. But I think thanks to West Indies, thanks to Sri Lanka, and even New Zealand, that and of course later on England, that they have come and played here. Now, with all of this going on, why do we need, these political angles to come into it? India, you can try what you like. It is up to the ICC managing committee to really decide. Why should India be deciding, what ICC should do? Okay, they might have a financial little crunch on it, but at the end of the day, it is the International Cricket Conference, which represents the international cricketing community. They should have all the powers to decide who plays where and who not. Now, for example, look at one of the games in Ahmedabad, a very volatile place. Why should Pakistan play there? Has our security team gone and visited and done any security clearance on it? I need to know now. So all of these things, I think they've done all of this deliberately to keep Pakistanis under pressure in that hostile crowd, which is indeed hostile. So why not change the venue? Why not? Because they're adamant when it comes up to, like what Rizwan is saying, they're adamant on trying to beat us, and we're adamant on trying to beat them. So in a level playing field, in a neutral venue, I think that is where you'll see the good contest between the bat and the ball. But India, I'm sorry to say, is not willing to go onto that path. India is being very active, India is being very low, and India has mixed the politics, cricket.
So what ideal role the ICC should be playing in this sort of a scenario?
What they should be telling Indians, look, get your act together. This is not India's World Cup. This is World Cup. It comes under the jurisdiction of the ICC. So India cannot be, because it's hosting it, and Pakistan is also co-host. So why not play here? What's the problem? How can you differentiate and, say that, the game should be played there? How many teams are coming to Pakistan, by the way? Nepal? What about the rest? Why can't they come here? So this is a very complex matter. The ICC has got to, try and get some teeth in it. They cannot be paper tigers and paper cricketers. They've got to come along and do something positive for the long run. Winning or losing is not the objective. The objective is, because when I played in the first club, the first World Cup, the objective was to bring all the countries together and form an international brotherhood of cricket when it was the Prudential World Cup. So what happens now? It's all political. So why should there be politics in cricket? There were no politics then when everybody was playing there. But gradually over a period of time, in the '87 World Cup, you've seen what happened. So I think it is time that we need to get the ICC to get some more strong footing in and get some strong people to run that organization. Otherwise, people like Indians or the Indian Cricket Board will just be dominating it on a singular basis, and having a few other lobbyists along with them. And that is something which we need to be challenging all the time.
Right, Mr. Rizwan, how ideally the ICC should be establishing? Is it in a position right now to establish its authority?
Unfortunately, it's not. Right now, India's influence is so much that they've got. Just see how much share they get from the ICC earnings. They get 40%, 50% actually, and then 5 or 6% goes to Australia, England, and Pakistan, and the rest of the world. So for me, it's a step-by-step process. England, Australia, New Zealand. When they made the big three, England, India, and Australia, it was basically a step in the wrong direction. They kind of stopped. But now India's influence needs to be curtailed. And the only way of doing that is if Pakistan, England, Australia, New Zealand come together, make a strategy, and see how it goes in the next 2 years or 3 years' time. For me, India has always been very, very selfish. It's all about, as PJ Saab said, that it's not about the people, it's about the governments. It's the political government that is not, the political will is not there. Pakistan has always showed political will. And the way of moving forward for me is, going and playing there. Even if India says that we're not going to come to Pakistan, I agree with PJ Saab that yes, Pakistan should play them in the neutral venues. Why not? If India thinks, India's got a great team right now, let's be very, very honest. Test, one day, and T20. But if they want to be considered a great team, they need to be brave enough to go and play each and every one. And until and unless they learn that, even if they become world number one, there'll always be a patch on that. You haven't played Pakistan. And Pakistan is a force. Pakistan is a cricketing force. Pakistan may not be good at badminton or golf or Formula One or Olympics, but cricket is one sport which Southeast Asian countries like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan now, that is the only sport that brings us together. And if India is going to be like that, then it's going to be bad for cricket in general.
Right. This committee, this high-powered committee that was headed by Foreign Minister, and now it has linked Pakistan's participation with the foolproof security arrangements for the security of the cricket team of Pakistan. The concern regarding this has been conveyed to both ICC as well as the Indian authorities. First of all, when you talk about ICC, do you think it is going to seriously take up this matter with the Indian authorities?
I think security is as much of a concern for Pakistan as much as it is for India. India can't take that sort of an issue that if something happens to the Pakistan team, it's bad name for India. So India is going to be providing security. Pakistan team is going to visit them as well. Security is a major concern for India. For whenever Pakistan has hosted any country, when Australia came, New Zealand came, I was part of the security delegation. It was like presidential level security given to given to Australia, England, and New Zealand teams. Similarly, West Indies and Zimbabwe. So security was the prime concern for us, not for the visiting country. So when the World Cup comes, even if Pakistan delegates visit there, the security delegates, I'm sure India is going to make sure that security doesn't become an issue, because it becomes a world issue then.
Right. Mr. Mir, your understanding is the ICC going to take up this matter of the security concern of Pakistani authorities regarding the safety of its team when it's in India for the participation in the mega event, and impress upon the Indian authorities to ensure that?
Look, when we speak about security, it concerns the entire participants, and all the participants are part of it. It is not India or Pakistan. When we speak about the World Cup, it has to look after, the ICC has to look after all the arrangements. And here, because arrangements are done by the Indians, and of course they are party to it, yes, there can be, and I hope not, there can be some controversies one way or the other. But again, from a cricket point of view, when you're playing against a hostile crowd, whether it is Ahmedabad or Calcutta, the question is, you don't your rivals playing in front of a hostile crowd, in front of a partisan crowd. You don't do that. And they've done it deliberately. And they've done it deliberately to put on a psychological effect, which I hope visiting team motivators, they will, encourage, to refrain from listening to all of this, the propaganda or all kind of psychological moves. But at the end of the day, I think what we need to do is to look forward. Whatever has to happen has happened. The government, okay, has given a green signal. But I think after this World Cup, we need to bring an extraordinary meeting of the ICC and thrash this issue once and for all, because it just cannot continue. I mean, here we are, lamenting that Pakistan is not visiting there, and what's this and what's that. I think we've got to get out of it. We've got to thinking more in the promotion of the game, for particularly on the subcontinent. And when India speaks of playing with us, or we speak of playing with India, don't forget they will be the biggest gates that you will ever come across, even in comparison to the other playing nations. Because India and Pakistan are just like the roses, Yorkshire and Lancashire. They're just like that. They're just like the Ashes, England and Australia. So it's a derby between the two countries, and I think that is what needs to be seen in the longer run. But we need to be talking to them, just after this World Cup.
So, right, how psychologically challenging it would be for the team itself while it plays at that particular venue against India?
Look, I remember when I was 12th man in the Karachi Test in '74 against the West Indies, and there were bricks which were coming behind my back. How could I concentrate, fielding at fine leg and third man with expecting bricks to come on my head? And that is the same sort of psychological sort of this situation which comes into your mind, because we know Ahmedabad's track record, because we know what they're capable of. So my concentration will be more worrying about those people rather than concentrating on the game. So it does affect you in one way or the other. It does affect you. And to play with an open mind, with a level playing field, I think we should be more, we should be demanding and a neutral venue, not Ahmedabad.
Right, we are joined by another participant on the phone line, Mr. Mohsin Hasan Khan, former Test cricketer. Mr. Khan, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. Now, Pakistani government has approved the travel of its cricket team to India to participate in the World Cup 2023. How do you look at this particular decision, and what sort of a message does it send across?
Well, the message is very positive, very nice, positive, clear message to India, plus to the whole cricketing nation, that we are taking positive. I think Pakistan is taken, basically, whenever I've seen, is a positive step. But one thing I must hear, that I have to say this, that do not undermine ourselves. If we should make the other realize that if we are giving respect to you, we want the respect in return, right? Whether it's India or any other country. Pakistan is one of the best cricketing nation of the world, and if India's cricket board is financially, everything is stronger, very strong and all that, so that's fine, that's okay. It's their lookout. But as far as our concern with India and Pakistan, and India and Pakistan, only between India and Pakistan is a law that both the countries' approval will be taken. Otherwise, it's not normally it's done with any other country. But like I said, very, very positive, very nice approach from the Pakistan government, Pakistan Cricket Board, and it should be reciprocated. That's all I want, because I believe in one thing, or rather, I should say, Pakistan believes in one thing. If we give you respect, we want respect in return.
Right, earlier we know that India refused to send its team to participate in the Asia Cup. So ideally there should be a reciprocation from the other side also. But do you think that's going to be the scenario in future?
Can you speak a bit louder, please?
Mr. Khan, as we already know, as you mentioned, that there should be reciprocation from the other side also. So we already know that Indian side refused to send its team to participate in the Asia Cup. Do you see any change of stance on the part of Indians when we talk about the future scenario?
Exactly. You have said actually what I wanted to say, that India refused to come to Pakistan for Asia Cup. And because of India's this thing, a majority of the tournament has been shifted to Sri Lanka. I mean, what is this? This is a joke. Uh, and why our cricket board accepted that, I cannot understand that. Like I said, India and Pakistan, they are two great cricketing nations. We, no doubt there is some security problems. It does happen. It can happen. And it happens a lot. And security problems are all over the world now. Even in England and Australia and South Africa and places like that. Even in New Zealand. So what I'm basically, I mean, they refused to come here. The whole tournament was disturbed. 70%, 80% of the tournament was shifted to Sri Lanka. I mean, I tell you what, I was very annoyed with that. But I didn't say anything. Now you've brought up this point. So I would have first said to them that, look, we are coming to you for the World Cup without any condition. The one condition which is obviously there, the security. When your team comes here, I know when their team comes here. I played against India when I was playing. Tremendous security. Our security, when our security forces, they provide the security, I think it's probably one, if not the best, but one of the best in the world. And vice versa. They also have very good security. So, this is the only thing. But in case, let's say, this matter should have come up. That Pakistan said, okay, you come for the Asia Cup, we are coming to you. If they would said, it's too late now, okay, let's in future, we'll reciprocate in the same way, the way you are doing it. Fine. That would have been like, I'm not saying face saving. That was dignity saving. That was respect saving for us as a nation. This is all I'm going to say. But again, Pakistan has shown a very good gesture, very positive approach. And I think the reciprocation has got to be there. Otherwise, if we are not going to respect ourselves, nobody will respect us.
Right, Mr. Khan, given the security situation over there in India, the rise of Hindutva and the kind of the situation we witness over there, the kind of discrimination, especially when it is meted out to minorities over there, and especially when we talk about Gujarat, where Pakistan and India clash is going to happen, what sort of expectations are there when it comes to Indian authorities ensuring and guaranteeing the safety and the security of the team while it plays the match again against India?
Well, see, no doubt, the problem is there. Like here, with the problem with us, that they say that terrorism all over, how many Pakistan cricket suffered so badly in the past because of this insecurity and terrorism problem. Even now, it came back to some normalcy when England, New Zealand, and Australia, they came to Pakistan after so many years. They totally refused to come to Pakistan. So Pakistan actually impression was much worse than anyone else. But our security forces did a tremendous job and they put everything in order. And I think the same thing they'll do. I know they also have lots of problems, but once the government decides to give the security on the highest level, the proper way and the best possible way, it can be done. There is always a slight boon. You and I can guarantee something, but it's the hands of Almighty Allah. That what is going to happen. But I think they will make sure that all the best possible security is given to Pakistan, because Pakistan team is the most popular team in India than any other team in the world. I played there as a Pakistani cricketer. I have toured with the Pakistan team, and they are loved by the Indian crowd. Pakistan team is the most favorite team in it. After India, Pakistan is the most favorite team in India. But on the other hand, the security problems are also there. So they have to be careful. And I'm sure our arrangements have been good. I remember the last time when the Indians came over here to Pakistan, they were over the moon. They said there is not a problem at all. Everything is absolutely immaculate. So that's how it should be.
Right, Mr. Khan, one last question. When we talk about the potential of cricket as a game or sports, what sort of potential do you associate with it in reducing the tensions when we talk about the relationship between Pakistan and India?
I'm very sorry. Come again, please.
What sort of potential do you associate with cricket as sports in reducing the tensions between Pakistan and India?
See, I mean, one thing I just cannot understand, that we have to use cricket to have good relationship with each other. For God's sake, we should be, aren't our government genius are there to sort out this problem? This problem should be at the highest level. First of all, politics should do nothing with the cricket or any other sport. It has been used in the past. Okay, the beginning is there. India is a cricket fanatic country. Pakistan is a cricket fanatic country. So it can be used in a way that, okay, everything is fine now. So now, goodwill, we are also sending our team. So either they are coming here or we are going there. But if we are going to use cricket, for God's sake, for highest level political relationship, I think that's a pity. That's a shame. And government should do it and all that. And like I said, if everything goes fine and things are well settled in a very fine way, then they say, okay, let's have an exchange of cricket also, hockey also, or any other game also. So don't use, for God's sake, cricket as a main point to use that. Otherwise, it gives an impression. I was talking to a few of my foreign friends, English. They were saying that we are surprised that your government has to take the help of cricket to have good relationship between you two. Well, I said, I didn't have an answer to that. And I was honestly, even now, like I'm saying on my own channel, that government should sort out everything, both the government should, and we have got geniuses over here, and they also have there. And then if for a goodwill, okay, now let's have an exchange of cricket also. But cricket is a top priority to create relationship. I think that's a shame.
Right, Mr. Mohsin Hasan Khan, former Test cricketer, joining us on the phone line. Thank you very much for being with us on Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. Mr. Rizwan, when we talk about the provision of the foolproof security to the Pakistani team when it participates in the World Cup, especially in the match against India, as we have seen the kind of discrimination by the Indian authorities towards the minorities over there, so do you have the expectation that they are going to be equally serious in providing the security for the safety of the Pakistani cricket team as they are going to be serious and cautious about the other teams?
As Mohsin Saab said, cricket cannot be linked with politics. Their problems are separate. The minorities issue, I have no idea about them, and we're not here to talk about that. Cricketing security is a separate issue. For them, India needs to make sure that Pakistani team is provided foolproof security, at least presidential level security, that we provide all the other teams. When they come here, we provide them presidential level security from the airport to hotels to the stadium and all that. They're cordoned off, and we make sure that nobody comes close to the players, because it's a threat for us. So India is not going to take that risk. It is going to be very embarrassing if something of the sort happens. So that means that India has to make sure that security
if the crowd happens to be hostile, the chances of which are very high, as Mr. Amir had already mentioned regarding some people from the crowd hurling objects. So if that sort of scenario happens to be there, so who is going to be responsible for that?
The Indian government, of course, because now the stadiums are very, very secure. It's not like 1996 World Cup when the Sri Lankan teams was threatened. It becomes an international issue when there's fire in the stadium and when people are throwing objects at the stadium. India-Pakistan games have always been hostile, and India has shown in the past that their people are not very they have they lack sportsman spirit to a lot. Pakistan, on the other hand, has been very sporty, and we don't mind losing. When two teams play, one is going to win, one is going to lose, and even if the team plays well and loses, we should appreciate that. The Indian people have to learn that, and unless the people learn that, they're always going to be. That's the reason India doesn't play Pakistan, because they're scared of losing. They're scared that when India loses to Pakistan, their houses bricks are thrown at their houses, and the people are harassed, the players are harassed. The players have to learn that winning and losing is part of the game. The crowd has to learn that losing and winning is part of the game. As PJ said, Pakistani and Indian players enjoy very cordial relations. Even when Indians visit Pakistan, not just for cricket but for other reasons, or Pakistanis visit India, it's very, very cordial. The people love each other. There are no language barriers. The jokes are very similar. Their other habits are very, very similar. Their functions are pretty similar, the weddings and all that. But when it comes to cricket, India has been playing in Pakistan in all different sports, in volleyball and swimming and basketball and under 19 level. Other than cricket, they've been playing everything. And our teams have been touring for kabaddi and football and all that. So it just, when it comes to India, it's I think probably they're scared of losing, and even though they had such a good record.
So do you expect any ease in visas for the Pakistani participants to go over there and watch the match?
Definitely. Because they're bound to give a certain number of visas to a visiting team. They have to have a separate stand, and that always happens in any international event. ICC events, there are limitations on how many seats you can give, but yes, they're bound to give visas. I think the last time we played in India, 2011 World Cup, visas were given. So they should be.
Right. Mr. Mir, what's your expectation? Is there going to be an ease regarding giving the visas to Pakistani participants who want to go and watch the match?
Absolutely, for everybody. I mean, it's not Pakistan. Every participant must be given, due share to on. But I would go along in saying that instead of separate enclosures, the whole purpose of World Cup is to amalgamate, mix, talk, and be friends. So, whether it is Pakistanis or West Indians or Sri Lankans or anybody else, Australians, New Zealanders, English, they should all be together in one stand, which creates a camaraderie as far as spectators are concerned, which creates, a very congenial atmosphere. And that is something which the World Cup asks. It is not a game, it's just a game of cricket. I mean, we play cricket all over the world. It is not a game of cricket. It is a game of getting the countries together, getting the people of the countries, people of the world together. That is the World Cup. That is the whole spirit of the World Cup. But coming on to the other thing, when you spoke about potential with Mohsin, we should also be now looking at, I would much rather send some of the potential youngsters to go into India and watch the games, because they are a future. And that is how you build up teams. And I think there's none other better, as far as I'm concerned. That Mohsin is one of those people, who can take charge of the under-19s and youngsters. He's a very good thing, which the board, I've certainly recommended him to the board that he should be taking, because myself and Javed Miadad, we only spoke about him last week, that Mohsin should be given something. That is where we need to get people out and use them for our own. Yes, these kind of, altercations and disagreements and all these kind of things, they will continue. Rest assured, they won't stop till some sanity prevails, and particularly on the Indian side. If sanity prevails, well, we can have two brilliant countries playing a great competitive game between themselves. But it takes time.
Right, Mr. Mir, when we historically talk about the cricketing battle itself in the arena, which of the two teams have been superseding the other when it comes to the 50-over format in particular?
Look, like in the words of the late Khan Mohammed, Pakistan's fastest on time, the first test bowler, he always used to say, look, the game is never finished, the last ball is bowled. And this is a game, why do they call it a game of glorious uncertainties? Because it's an unpredictable game. And we can't say who supersedes. Today is one day and tomorrow is another day. When I interviewed Sir Gary Sobers, he said, every time I go out to bat, I skip 1,000 times. And I said, what about the butterflies? He says, well, for 200 yesterday, or I'm still batting, when I go to the crease, I always have butterflies. So this game is nobody's game. It is it makes a hero, and it makes a hero out of it. So you just take it in your stride. No one is dominant as the game is concerned, and particularly in Pakistan, we think that we've got a franchise of winning every game. No. Give your best, like what Rizwan has earlier on said, give your best, and do your best. Rest, the better team wins, and that's what cricket is.
Right. Historically, if we segregate the performance or the strengths or the weaknesses of both the teams, India and Pakistan, so which specific areas Pakistani team had ideally been stronger as compared to India, and what were the strengths of Indian side when it comes to the cricketing battle on the field?
We are not a well-knit team. We need a motivator. Our boys are always isolated. They have this phobia of not talking to the opposition. When I was the media manager, I ensured that the Pakistani boys, they met with other players. They spoke to other teams because that gives you a confidence. It builds you, because what happens here, in all the cricket I've played, that we play the man, not the ball. We bowl to a man, not to a batsman. So that kind of a phobia we need to be getting out of these boys. We've got potential, and where we need to be concentrating is on our feet. We've got to be concentrating on our diet, because food we eat. I'm sorry, cricketers don't eat that kind of food. So we need to be working more on our athletic and physical side as well. And rest, we've got talent. I mean, we've got unprecedented talent all over Pakistan, and that talent needs to be unearthed by good scouts.
Right, Mr. Rizwan, Pakistan and India, which out of the two had been better on the cricket field historically?
Well, historically, if you look at it, Pakistan and India have played 132 one-day internationals when we're talking about 50 over cricket. Pakistan has been successful on 73 occasions, and India has been successful. India has won on 55 times. But if you look at it from historic point of view, the 70s, 80s and 90s, Pakistan dominated India, especially in Sharjah. And if you let me go to the sportsman spirit side of India, India stopped playing in Sharjah. Even in the T20 World Cup, if you remember, India played Pakistan game in Dubai, and Pakistan had 3 or 4 games in Sharjah, but India shied away and not played a single game in Sharjah. Similarly, but after 2000, since the war on terror thing and Pakistan, the attack on the Sri Lankans, since 2005, India has won more. India has won about 30 games in one international, in Pakistan only 19. So I personally feel that had India played Pakistan consistently from 2005 till 2019, that would have been a golden opportunity for India to set the record straight in test matches and in one-day internationals to show a better record against Pakistan. But unfortunately, they got scared or something, and they haven't played Pakistan, and that's the reason Pakistan still has the edge in test matches and one-day internationals. However, when it comes to this game, it depends on the day. I mean, it depends on the pitch, it depends on the toss, and it depends on your mental pressure, that how much you can take. If you're brave enough, you don't worry about the game, just play your natural game, then the best team will win. But if you're scared, because the crowd is going to be hostile, as PJ said, if you're scared, then you lose the game mentally, and if that happens, then Pakistan won't have a chance. So I would say, take somebody who's a psychologist with you to keep the team, to keep them prepared, to keep them aware, and take people who've got exposure in India, who have played Pakistan versus India games in India, and they know what sort of a pressure there is. And if that happens, then Pakistan, of course, has a chance.
So if I'm correct, Pakistan is going to play after 16 years in India?
No, the last we played was in 2011 World Cup. And after that, I don't think we have played in India. We've played in ICC events in Sharjah and in England, in ICC Champions Trophy in India, but Pakistan hasn't toured India.
So by looking at this particular match, Pakistan and India are going to play in the Asia Cup. That is, of course, is going to be played in Sri Lanka. If Pakistan manages to win that match, will it give Pakistan a morale boost for contesting that match to be played in India?
I think it'll be good for your, psychologically, but end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's the World Cup game is going to be important. If you look at Asia Cup historically, India has won the Asia Cup 7 times, Sri Lanka has won it 5 times, Pakistan has only won it twice. So for Pakistan hasn't really either been good enough or hasn't taken it seriously. But as a practice game against India, every game is important. And every time you win, you get your morale boosted and everything. So for me, the game is important, but World Cup pressure is going to be absolutely different. In India, playing in India, you just need to remain calm, try your best, not worry about the crowd, not worry about the news, don't go to the press, and just concentrate on your game.
So by looking at the different areas, bowling, fielding and batting, which area do you think Pakistan is better as compared to India?
I think the fast bowling is one area where Pakistan is much superior to India. If Bumrah doesn't get fit, who's unfortunately didn't play the T20 World Cup as well. But I want the strongest Indian team to come and play us. You know, we should not be scared that he plays or not. But Pakistan has the edge on the fast bowling department. India probably has the edge in the spinning department. When it comes to batting, although India is very, very strong on paper, but I think Rohit Sharma is past his best. So probably a bit weak in the opening slot. But other than that, Surya Kumar Yadav, and they've got a very strong batting lineup. But fortunately, Surya Kumar Yadav, Shubman Gill, Ishan Kishan, Virat Kohli are there. But similarly, Pakistan has played well. Imamul Haq has been performing really well in one internationals as an opener. At number 2 with him is Fakhr. He's been doing really well. Number 3 is a slot where either Babar comes in or Shah Masood, but Shan hasn't really succeeded as yet, but Babar at number 4 or 3 is going to be very, very strong. Rizwan is there as a wicket-keeping batsman. So I think all in all, both teams are strong. Spin is an area where India has the edge. Fast bowling is an area where Pakistan has the edge, but batting-wise, both are strong.
Right. Mr. Mir, any quick closing comments? Do you want to add something to this?
There's one aspect. I would not allow any of the players to give any interviews or interact with the media. And they should confine themselves and not be looking at the media and, being influenced. Because when they go, there'll be a lot of hostile media towards the Pakistan team, and I think they should be just avoiding all of that and just concentrating on the game. They should not be. I stopped it. I stopped it. Simple as that. Despite 1 or 2 senior players, I told them nothing doing. No one gives any interview. You just concentrate on the game, and that is the way forward. Because don't forget, apart from the cricketing aspects, this will be a game of nerves as well.
Mr. Parvez, Jamil, senior journalist, thank you very much for being with us on Views on News tonight, joining us on Skype. We really appreciate that. In the studio, we're joined by Mr. Rizwan, Haider, sports analyst. Thank you very much for your time also for being with us on Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. With that, we come to the end of today's episode. Till the next one, take good care of yourselves.